Hello again. Welcome back to Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode 190, and this time we are at Crosley Field for game number 69 of the Strat-O-Matic Baseball Oldtimer Kings King of the Hill tournament, which has the current Kings, the 1961 Cincinnati Reds, taking on the 1950 Philadelphia Phillies. Before we get to the starting lineups in the game, let's take a look at the status of the Hill. So the Reds one win away from reaching the Goodell Cup Finals, where they would take on the 1954 Cleveland Indians. So far in this tournament, teams with 9 wins are 1-2. There's only been 3 games, obviously. And the Phillies would like to extend this tournament, get the gameplay back to Shibe Park, where they would take on the 1961 Tigers, who were on deck, with the 1960 Pittsburgh Pirates in the hole. All right, so for this game, first for the visiting 1950 Philadelphia Phillies, the Whiz Kids. Leading off at first base, Eddie Wakus. Batting second in center field, Richie Ashburn. Batting third in left field, Dick Sisler. Batting fourth, third baseman, Willie Jones. Batting fifth, shortstop, Granny Hamner. Batting sixth, catcher Andy Semenick. Batting seventh, Mike Goliot. He's at second base. Batting eighth is Dick Whitman. He is in right field, playing for the injured Del Ennis, who will return next game the Phillies play. And on the mound, batting ninth, is Robin Roberts. In 1950, he was 20-11 with a 3.02 ERA, 302 innings pitched. He's a number 1 hitting pitcher. Gets that card inserted into the lineup. Now for the current Kings, the 1961 Cincinnati Reds. Leading off, second baseman Don Blasingame. Batting second at shortstop, Eddie Casco. Batting third in center field, Vada Pinson. Batting fourth in right field, Frank Robinson. Wally Post bats fifth and plays left field. Gene Freese is at third base. He bats sixth. Batting seventh is first baseman Gordy Coleman. Batting eighth, catcher John Edwards. And on the hill, batting ninth, is Joey J. In 1961, he was 21-10 with a 3.53 ERA, 247 innings pitched. He's a number 1 hitting pitcher, so he gets that card inserted into the lineup for him. So we have a good pitching matchup in this one. And before we get started, I want to write down Ennis here so I remember he returns to the lineup next game. All right. So Joey J's ready. Eddie Wakus steps into the batter's box here at Crosley Field, and we are underway. That's a fly ball to center field. Vada Pinson under that, near the track, makes the catch, and there's one out. It brings up Richie Ashburn, Philadelphia Phillies center fielder. Pitch from Jay. This one's on the ground. Gene Freese over at third base. He tosses over to Gordy Coleman. 5-3 put out. And there are 2 away. So 2 outs, nobody on for Dick Sisler. He's in left for the Phils. Here's the pitch from Jay. It's a ground ball to first baseman Gordy Coleman. He's going to take that one unassisted. And that's it for the Phillies here in the top of the first. No runs, no hits, no one left on. 1/2 inning in the books. Phillies nothing, and the Reds coming to bat. Joey J will get a fatigue point. And Robin Roberts takes the mound. First batter's Don Blasingame for the Reds. Here's the pitch. That's a leadoff single right up the middle for Blasingame. Makes the turn, but he's going to hold it first as Whitey Ashburn gets the ball back into the infield quickly. So man on first, nobody out for the Reds. And Eddie Casco, pitch from Roberts. And that's a strikeout. Got him looking. 1 away. So 1 out, man on first, Vada Pinson. Pitch from Roberts. And it's a ground ball to first base. Wakis makes a diving stop. His only play is to get Blasingame at second for the second out, so they get the lead runner. And Pinson, reaches on a fielder's choice. So still a man on first, but now with 2 outs for Frank Robinson. Pitch from Roberts. And that's another base hit. This one into left. Let's check Pinson's running. He's a 1-17 with 2 outs. That makes him a 19. He's going to third, and he is safe there. So there are runners on the corners for the Reds with 2 outs and Wally Post. No score here, bottom of the first. Here's the pitch. And Post lifts this curveball into left field, and it sends Dick Sisler back to the track, to the wall. It's way up out of here, gone. A 2-out, 3-run home run for Wally Post, and the Reds take a 3-0 lead. And Roberts gets 3 fatigue points. All right, 2 outs, nobody on for Gene Freese. It's the pitch. It's a ground ball. Willie Jones over to Eddie Wakis for the final out here in the bottom of the first. But the Reds pick up 3 runs on 3 hits. One of them being that 3-run home run by Wally Post. And after 1 inning, it's the Reds 3 and the Phillies nothing. And Roberts gets his 4th fatigue point. So Joey J comes out here for the top of the second with a 3-run cushion, and it's going to be Willie Jones, Grant Hamner, and Andy Semenick. Here's the pitch to Jones. It's a fly ball into left field. And Wally Post near the track makes the catch, and there's 1 away. Next up for the Phillies is Granny Hamner. Pitch from Jay. And that one's into left field. It's in the gap. Hamner rounds first, and he heads into second with a 1-out double. So the Phillies put a man in scoring position with 1 out, and catcher Andy Semenick. Pitch from Jay. And that's a strikeout, out number 2. So 2 outs, man on second. And second baseman Mike Goliot. Pitch from Jay. It's a ground ball to third. It's going to be an X check for Gene Freese. He is a 4. And we roll a 4. And that gets by Freese, goes into left field. Hamner rounds second. He's coming in to score. So the Phillies are on the board. And Goliot slides into second base with a 2-out RBI double. Phillies are on the board. It's now 3-1. And Jay picks up another fatigue point. He's at 2. That brings up Dick Whitman. Out in right field, playing for the injured Del Ennis. Got a man on second with 2 outs. Phillies trail 3-1. Here's the pitch from Jay. Slow and outside. Yeah, free pass for Whitman. Now it's runners on first and second with 2 outs, and Robin Roberts comes to the plate. Pitch from Jay. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Jay to end the inning. But the Phillies do pick up a run on Mike Goliot's RBI double. And after 1.5 innings of play, it's the Reds 3 and the Phillies 1. Joey J gets fatigue point number 3. All right. Here we are, bottom of the second. It's going to be Gordy Coleman, John Edwards, and Joey J for the Reds. Pitch from Roberts. It's a ground ball to first. Eddie Wakis is going to take that one unassisted for the first out. So 1 out, nobody on. Catcher John Edwards. That's the pitch. This one's going to stay in the infield. And Mike Goliot's waving everyone off. Makes the catch. And there are 2 away. 2 outs, nobody on for pitcher Joey J. Pitch from Roberts. It's a fly ball to center field. Easy one for Whitey Ashburn. And the Reds go 1-2-3 here in the bottom of the second. No runs, no hits. No one left on base. 2 innings complete. It's the Reds 3 and the Phillies 1. Roberts, fatigue point number 5. All right. And we go to the top of the third. And it's back to the top of the order for the Phillies with Eddie Wakis, who is 0 for 1. Pitch from Jay. It's a ground ball to second, and it's going to be an X check for Don Blasingame. He's a 3, rolling 11. And a nice play by Blasingame from his knees. Fires over to Gordy Coleman for the first out, robbing Wakis of a base hit. That brings up Richie Ashburn. He is 0 for 1. Pitch from Jay. It's a ground ball to first base, another X check. This time it's for Coleman. He is a 4, and we roll a 17. And he makes a diving stop and tosses to Jay covering first for the 3-1 put out. This Reds team not known for their defense, but they are flashing the leather so far in this game. All right, 2 outs, nobody on for Dick Sisler. He's 0 for 1. Here's the pitch. But he's 0 for 1 no longer because he hits one to deep center field, and Vada Pinson just watches that go over his head, way up, out of here, gone. A 2-out home run for Dick Sisler. And it's now 3-2 in favor of the Reds. Jay picks up fatigue point number 4. That one got out of here in a hurry. All right, so 2 outs, nobody on. Phillies trail 3-2. Willie Jones, pitch. That's a ground ball to Blasingame, over to Coleman to end the inning. The Phillies do get a run. On 1 hit. That was the homer by Sisler. Nobody left on base, so after 2.5 innings, it's the Reds 3 and the Phillies 2. So Joey J gets fatigue point number 5. And we go to the bottom of the third. And back to the top of the order for the Reds. Don Blasingame, who is 1 for 1. Pitch from Roberts. It's a ground ball to third. It's going to be an X check for Willie Jones. He's a 2. Roll a 13. And that one's off Jones' glove into left field. Blasingame rounds first and slides into second on the E5. So he's at second base with nobody out. And shortstop Eddie Casco, who is 0 for 1. He struck out his first time up. Pitch from Roberts. It's a fly ball to left field. And Sisler's under that, makes the catch for the first out. Blasingame holds at second. So man on second with 1 out now, and Vada Pinson. Pinson reached on a fielder's choice and scored back in the first. Here's the pitch. And that is a base hit. into center field. So Blasingame moves to third. Let's check him out here. He's being waved home on his 1-15. And he does score. And on the throw home, Pinson moves up to second and picks up the RBI. So now it is 4-2 in favor of the Reds and the 6th fatigue point for Robin Roberts. So there's 1 out, man on second for Frank Robinson, who is 1 for 1 with a run scored. Pitch from Roberts. And this is trouble. It's a base hit into the gap. Pinson rounds second into, or excuse me, rounds third and into score. And it's an RBI single for Frank Robinson. And it's now 5-2. Roberts gets fatigue point number 7. So man on first with 1 out. Here's the pitch to Wally Post, who homered his last time up. That one almost hits him. So that's a 1 out walk. Robinson moves up to second, so runners on first and second. Still only 1 out. And Gene Freeze. Pitch from Roberts. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Robin. And the second out here in the bottom of the third. So 2 outs, runners on first and second for Gordy Coleman, who is 0 for 1. Pitch from Roberts. And that's way inside. Almost hits him as well. That's going to load the bases up. 2 walks issued by Robin Roberts here in the bottom of the third. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. Catcher John Edwards. Edwards is 0 for 1. Here's the pitch. And that's a base hit into left field. And the runners are going to all move up 90. Frank Robinson scores. And it's now 6-2. And Robin Roberts gets fatigue point number 8. And we see Jim Constanti, taking off his jacket in the Phillies bullpen. All right, so we got the bases still loaded, but now with 2 outs. And the Reds lead 6-2. That brings up Joey J. J is 0 for 1. He flew out to center field his first time up. Pitch from Roberts. And that's it's not a strikeout. I'm sorry. It's a ground ball to first base. That Eddie Wakis is going to take unassisted for the final out. So the Reds pick up 3 runs on 3 hits, 3 men left on. And after 3 innings complete, it's the Reds 6 and the Phillies 2. And Roberts will pick up another fatigue point. That's going to put him at 9. So he doesn't have a lot of gas left in the tank. And we go to the top of the 4th. Joey J coming out. Now he's got a 4-run lead. Leading things off for the Phillies will be Granny Hamner. Hamner's 1 for 1 with a run scored. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to shortstop Eddie Casco over to Gordy Coleman. And there's 1 away. So 1 out, nobody on. Andy Semenick, Phillies catcher. Pitch. This one stays in the infield. Casco is under it and makes the catch for out number 2. So 2 outs, nobody on, and Mike Goliot. Goliot is 1 for 1. He had an RBI single back in the second. Pitch from Jay. This one into right field. Frank Robinson near the track makes the catch. And the Phillies go 1-2-3 here in the top of the fourth. No runs, no hits, no one left on. 3.5 complete. It's the Reds 6 and the Phillies 2. And Joey J will pick up another fatigue point. That puts him at 6. Jim Constanti is ready for the Phillies when needed. But Robin Roberts is back out here now. And it's the top of the order. Again, this inning for the Reds. They brought 9 batters to the plate in the third. It's Don Blasingame. Blasingame is 1 for 2. Here's the pitch. And that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Robin Roberts. And there's 1 away. So 1 out, nobody on. Eddie Casco, pitch from Roberts. This one stays in the infield. Granny Hamner's under it. Makes the catch. And there's 2 outs. And Veda Pinson. Pinson is 1 for 2. Couple runs scored. Pitch from Roberts. And there is a line drive right at Granny Hamner, and that robs Veda Pinson of at least a base hit. And the Reds go 1, 2, 3 here in the bottom of the fourth. No runs, no hits, no one left on. 4 innings complete, and it remains the Reds 6 and the Phillies 2. Robin Roberts is going to pick up fatigue point number 10. All right, so Dick Whitman is leading things off for the Phillies here in the top of the 5th, and then the pitcher spot, which Roberts will probably be pinch hit for. So here's the pitch from Joey J to Dick Whitman. And this is a pop-up over near first base. Gordy Coleman is under that. Makes the catch, and there's 1 away. And Robin Roberts is called back for a pinch hitter. Jim Constanti will be the Phillies pitcher in the bottom of the 5th. And it's going to be Jimmy Bloodworth, utility infielder. He's going to pinch hit for Roberts. His day is done. Hit. And as mentioned, Jim Constanti will be the pitcher for the Phillies in the bottom of the 5th. Okay, so 1 out, and pinch hitter Jimmy Bloodworth. Pitch from Jay. That's a fly ball to left field. Wally Post is under that, makes the catch, and that's 2 outs. All right, back to the top of the order, and Eddie Wakus. Wakus is 0 for 2. Pitch from Jay. Low and outside, and that's a 2-out walk. Wakus trots down to first base, and that brings up Whitey Ashburn, who is 0 for 2 as well. Here's the pitch. It's catcher's card X. John Edwards is a 2. And we roll a 5. And Ashburn lifts that one right in front of home plate. Edwards off with the mask. He's under it, makes the catch for out number 3. The Phillies, no runs, no hits, 1 man left on. After 4.5, it's the Reds 6 and the Phillies 3. Joey J will pick up another fatigue point. That puts him at 7. All right, as mentioned, Jim Constanti is the new pitcher for the Phillies. In 1950, he was 16-7 with the 2.66 ERA, 152 innings pitched. And first batter he's going to face is Frank Robinson. Reds lead 6-2. Robinson is 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored and an RBI. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to short. It's going to be an X check For Granny Hamner, he is a 2, and we roll a 17. And a diving stop by Hamner fires over to Wakis for the first out. And they get Robinson by a half step. There's one away. And that brings up Wally Post. Post is 1 for 1 with a home run. That one. Back in the first inning, here's the pitch. This time it keeps it on the ground. Willie Jones scoops that up. Fires over to Eddie Wakis. 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th. And that brings up Gene Freeze. Pitch from Constanti. And that's a fly ball to center field. Richie Ashburn's under that. At the track, makes the catch. And the Reds go 1, 2, 3 here in the bottom of the 5th. No runs, no hits, no one left on. Excuse me, we've played 5. And it's the Reds 6 and the Phillies 2. Constanti gets his first fatigue point. All right, Joey J. Top of the 6th. And leading things off is Dick Sisler. Here's the pitch. Lead-off walk. So Sisler heads down to first base, and that brings up Willie Jones. Jones is 0 for 2. Pitch from Jay. And this is popped up into the infield. Don Blasingame's under that, makes the catch for the first out. Brings up Grant Hamner. Hamner is 1 for 2 with a run scored. Here's the pitch. It's a fly ball to center field. Veda Pinson under that, at the track, makes the catch, and there's 2 outs. So 2 outs with a man on first and Andy Semenick. Semenick is 0 for 2. Pitch from Jay. And he hits this into the left field gap, or excuse me, off the wall in left field. Sisler rounds second, rounds third, and he's going to score. And Semenick slides into third base with a 2-out RBI triple. And that's fatigue point number 8 for Joey J. And it's now 6-3 in favor of the Reds. So 2 outs, man on third for Mike Goliot. Pitch from Jay. And that's a strikeout to end the inning. That's strikeout number 3 for Joey J. But the Phillies do pick up a run on Semenick's RBI triple. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 man left. And after 5.5, it's now the Phillies 3 and the Reds 6. And Jay will pick up fatigue point number 9. Jim Constanti is out here for the bottom of the 6th, and it's going to be Gordy Coleman, John Edwards, and the pitcher's spot. Here's a pitch. This one stays in the infield, but it's lifted high. And Eddie Wakis is under that over at first base for the first out. That's going to bring up John Edwards. And there is some activity in the Reds bullpen. Ken Johnson is warming up. So the day's probably over for Joey J. But first, let's see what happens here with Edwards. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to third baseman Willie Jones. It's an X-check. Jones is a 2, and we roll a 3. And Jones makes a nice scoop over there, fires to Eddie Wakis for the second out. 2 outs, nobody on. And we got a pinch hitter for Joey J. That's Jerry Lynch. Two outs, nobody on. Reds lead 6-3. Pitch from Constanti. And that's a fly ball to right field. Whitman's under that, makes the catch. And the Reds go 1-2-3. No runs, no hits, no one left on. 6 innings complete, and it's the Reds 6. And the Phillies 3. And Constanti gets his second fatigue point. So as mentioned, Joey J, his day is done. And the new pitcher for the Reds is Ken Johnson. In 1961, he was 6-2 with a 3.25 ERA and 83 innings pitched. He is listed as a starter reliever. Let's get him written in here. And it's going to be Dick Whitman. First batter he faces. Pitch from Johnson. And that's a fly ball to deep left field that sends Wally Post back to the track to the wall where he makes the catch for the first out. And that brings up the pitcher's spot. And there's going to be a pinch hitter for Constanti, and that will be Stan Lapata. Backup catcher. All right, 1 out, nobody on. Pitch from Johnson. And that's a line drive, but right at first baseman Gordy Coleman for out number 2. So 2 outs. Nobody on. Brings up Eddie Waitkus back to the top of the order. Waitkus is 0 for 2 with a walk. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to second. It's the next check for Blasingame. He's a 3. We roll a 12. And he makes a nice play out there. Fires over to Coleman. And they get Waitkus by a half step. 4-3 put out to end the inning. So the Phillies go 1-2-3. No runs, no hits, no one left on. And as we stretch them, it's the Reds 6 and the Phillies 3. And the crowd is starting to get show a little anxiety here because the Reds are 3 innings away from reaching the finals. There's still a lot of baseball. So as mentioned, there's a new pitcher for the Phillies. And I didn't say who that was, but it's Ken Heinzelman, who's coming in, replacing Jim Constanti. After Lapata pinch hit for him in the top of the 7th. So leading things off for the Reds here in the bottom of the 7th, it's Don Blasingame, back to the top of the order. Let me get Heinzelman's name in here. All right, pitch to Blasingame. Line drive right at second baseman Mike Goliot for the first out. So 1 out, nobody on. Eddie Casco. Casco's 0 for 3. Pitch. Make that 1 for 4 because he hits one into the left center gap. And he rounds first, heads into second with a stand-up double. So a man on second with 1 out and Veda Pinson. Pinson's 1 for 3, couple runs scored. This time he hits a ground ball to first base. And Wakes fires to... Oh, no. Excuse me. He takes that to the bag unassisted for out number 2. Casco holds that second. So 2 outs, man on second, and Frank Robinson. Robinson's 2 for 3. Here's the pitch. It's a fly ball to deep center field. Richie Ashburn is under that at the track, makes the catch. And that's it for the Reds in the bottom of the 7th. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left on. 7 innings complete, and it's the Reds 6 and the Phillies 3. Ken Heitzelman gets his first fatigue point. Ken Johnson back out here for the Reds in the top of the 8th, and leading things off for the Phillies will be Richie Ashburn. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to short. It's going to be an X check for Eddie Casco. He's a 2, and we roll a 14. Casco scoops that one up, fires over to Coleman with a 6-3 put out, and the first out here in the top of the 8th. That brings up Dick Sisler. Sisler is 1 for 3, and that 1 was a home run, a 2-run home run back in the 3rd. Pitch from Ken Johnson. It's a ground ball to first. And Coleman will toss over to Ken Johnson covering the bag. 3-1 put out, and there are 2 away here in the top of the 8th. Brings up Willie Jones. Jones is 0 for 3. Pitch from Johnson. Now Jones is 1 for 4 because he hits one off the wall in left field. He rounds second and slides into third with a 2-out triple. So a man on third with 2 outs and Granny Hamner. And Hamner is 1 for 3 with a run scored. Here's the pitch from Johnson. It's a fly ball to center field. Vada Pinson's got a beat on that. And he makes the catch. So the Phillies strand a runner on third. No runs on 1 hit. 1 man left, and after 7.5, it's the Reds 6 and the Phillies 3. Ken Johnson picks up his 2nd fatigue point. I forgot to mark that down last inning. Ken Heitzelman here in the bottom of the 8th. He's going to face Wally Post, Gene Freese, and Gordy Coleman. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to short. X check for Granny Hamner. He's a 2. Roll a 19. And that's off Hamner's glove and trickles into left field. And Post is going to reach on the E6. He reaches first base. Second error for the Phillies in this one. So man on first, nobody out. And Gene Freese, pitch from Heitzelman. And this one's to deep center field. It's off the wall. Post round second. He goes to third. He's going to be held up there. And Freese slides into second base with a double. So now it's runners on second and third. Nobody out. Phillies are bringing the infield in. And it's Gordy Coleman. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball back to the pitcher. And Heitzelman gives a look to Post, holds him there, and fires over to first base, where they get Coleman. Nice play by Heitzelman to hold the runners. And there's 1 away. And that's going to bring up John Edwards. So runners on second and third, 1 out. Infield is still in. Here's the pitch. It's a ground ball to first. And once again, post is frozen, and Wakus takes that unassisted. They're 2 away. And that'll bring up Ken Johnson. He's a number 3 hitting pitcher, and he is going to hit here. All right, so 2 outs, runners on second and third. Infield's back at normal depth. Pitch from Heinzelman. And Johnson bloops this one over Hamner's head. And that's going to bring Post in for another run for the Reds. Freese holds up at third. And Ken Johnson with the RBI single. So now it's runners on the corners with 2 outs. And it's now a 7-3 lead for the Reds, and they can taste it. They can taste it. Pitch from Heinzelman. Way inside, and that's going to load him up as Don Blasingame walks. And Ken Johnson moves to second, so the bases are loaded with 2 outs. Excuse me, for Eddie Casco. Pitch from Heinzelman. It's a fly ball to center field that Richie Ashburn has a beat on. Near the track, he makes the catch for out number 3. But the Reds do pick up an insurance run. 1 run on 2 hits, 3 men left. And after 8 complete, it's the Reds 7 and the Phillies 3. Heinzelman gets fatigue point number 2. And warming up for the Reds is Bill Henry, if needed. So here we are, top of the 9th. And the Phillies trail 7-3. And leading things off is Andy Semenick. Pitch from Johnson. That's low and outside, and it's a walk, a leadoff walk here in the top of the 9th. Brings up Mike Goliot. Goliot's 1 for 3. Pitch from Ken Johnson. And that's a line drive to Gene Freese for the first out. So 1 out, man on first, and Dick Whitman. Whitman is 0 for 2 with a walk. Pitch from Johnson. And that is a ground ball to second baseman Don Blasingame. Over to Eddie Casco and to Gordy Coleman for the 4-6-3 game-ending double play. And the Reds advance to the Goodell Cup Finals. We're going to have a Buckeye State matchup. The 1961 Reds will face the 1954 Cleveland Indians as they win this one 7-3. Phillies, 3 runs on 5 hits. They committed 2 errors. The Reds, 7 runs on 9 hits. No errors. Winning pitcher is Joey J. And the loss goes to Robin Roberts. And the Hill portion of this tournament is over, as we will now go to the Goodell Cup Finals. It took 69 games to get here, but the next time I do this tournament, it'll be game 1 of the finals. It will be in Cleveland at Municipal Stadium. They will be the home team. All injuries are cleared. All pitcher fatigue is cleared, so we can start game 1 with the number 1 starters for both teams. And that'll be the next time we get together for Strat-O-Matic Baseball. If you hung out with me, I appreciate it, and I will be back again in the near future with another video. And until then, take care.